If it's not a match for them, it's not a match for you. And if it's not a match for you, it's not a match for them. Okay? That's just how simple it is. Remember, if something is not a fuck yeah for someone else, it's not a fuck yeah for you. A qualifier of a fuck yes for you is that it matches for them. Ooh, I like the person I am dating a lot. I like this. However, we have a big difference of our opinions on monogamy. They believe in polyamory, and I am leaning towards monogamy. They have told me that I was conditioned to believe in monogamy, and I could benefit from opening my mind to newer ideas and concepts about relationships. Okay, one, I want to point out that when someone expresses their need or what their belief is, that's true, that you can say, hey, have you thought about the possibility that you've been conditioned to want that thing? But when you say you have been conditioned to believe in that, that's gaslighting their actual need and thought and what they want. So, on the other hand, I think they are stuck in their view of polyamory because they've had avoidant tendencies in the past, and this is a way of protecting that. I'm not sure how to move forward in line with my values. Help. Well, you have to think like, is choosing this choosing me? You can stretch yourself and go into the space where you explore it, but you do need to make sure, like, I'm not one of those people that believes that you have to love in a certain way or your relationship structure has to be a certain way. It doesn't matter to me what you choose. What I care about is that you choose what aligns with you. Remember, choosing something should always be choosing yourself. If you are not choosing yourself in that, then it's self-abandonment, and then that's a quick way to total disaster. And again, remember, this can be low accountability behavior. This seems to be quite a common thing that we have, right? I'm not polyamorous. I think about it and it doesn't make me feel good. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about this person. I think about it and it doesn't make me feel good. I don't want to do it. It doesn't feel good for me to explore, or I explored it and now I'm like, You can't keep going down that path. So how do you do it where you're in line with your values? Well, you just follow what is your intuitive feeling, and you have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself that it's okay to choose what you want. Remember, if you find someone that you like or that you love, and your way of structuring the relationship doesn't match and you can't find a way in between, then you gotta go because they're not your person. Remember, if it's not a match for you, if it's not a match for them, it's not a match for you. And if it's not a match for you, it's not a match for them. Okay? That's just how simple it is. Remember, if something is not a fuck yeah for someone else, it's not a fuck yeah for you. A qualifier of a fuck yes for you is that it matches for them. This is how it works. And I think what's so fascinating about dating and relationships is that we believe that we're waiting for someone to pick us. We're waiting for someone to choose us. We're waiting for someone to say, you're a great choice. I like you. And then we're like, oh, I like you too. And we're like, oh, you know what? I'm looking for a relationship. I want marriage. I want to have kids or whatever. You don't want that. Or I want someone who drinks or I want someone who doesn't drink. It doesn't matter what it is. But as soon as you get to this place where you say you want these things and you don't honor them, that's a good sign that low self-worth is actually doing. It's low self-worth is inaction. Okay. So how do you move along? You check in with yourself and you go, is polyamory for me? And then you're like, well, you know what? We did this setup. Here's one thing I will say that's fascinating about polyamory and monogamy in terms of that conversation. Is one, just find someone who loves like you do. Don't misrepresent. Don't tell someone that they have an unevolved way of seeing the world and that's why they're not into polyamory. That becomes righteous, spiritual, bypassing BS, and it's also very manipulative. It's not kind. So instead, what you could say is, have you ever been curious about why you want what you want? And that's a good thing that we should all check in with. Look, like on purely an attachment basis, if you believe in attachment theory and you believe in if you believe in some forms of research that have shown that when you have conflict within a relationship or you're out of alignment with yourself and your values and you don't feel safe to be yourself in your relationship, and the bottom line question is, when I need you, will you be here for me? And the challenge about polyamory is, so polyamory is it has different setups, but let's just call it this. You would have it where you're in a primary relationship with one person and then you have other relationships where you're dating. And so you are in this relationship, and they have to have exceptional communication. And that's why I would say there's probably as many really, really successful, beautiful, polyamorous relationships as there are, as there are probably monogamous relationships, because communication is key and honoring yourself is key. And I know that's weird, right? Because you think about it, we haven't really mastered monogamy in a sense, and we haven't also mastered the ability to communicate and really express what we need. I think what's fascinating is no matter what you look at evolutionarily, you can find a tribe that justifies how you want to love. And if you want to try dating other people while you're dating one person, or you want to explore things, what I find is a lot of couples will open their relationship to tear it down on their way to breaking up. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But it's usually because they don't want the full fracture before that. The second part is I often find that people will go to polyamory when they've been really hurt by relationship. And so when they've been really hurt by relationship, they think that monogamy is not functional, but it's because we haven't actually learned the skill set to manage a really powerful, effective relationship. Again, you can find that through polyamory. But what is fascinating is that it can become an avoidant behavior, because if you think about it, if you want to go to the depths with someone, the depths, like the depths of the depths, having peripheral relationships often insulates us from that. Some people would argue that the other relationships actually propel us to that deeper truth. And maybe that's true. Fair enough, if that's something that's important to someone. Again, I don't know what is right for you, but what I do know is that if you don't believe that your partner is going to be there for you when you need them, then you're not going to feel safe. And if you don't feel safe in your relationship, then the relationship is going to be a place that causes inflammation for you, not health, not expansion, not well-being. Okay.